All right, Unique Make Audio, man. You know, I'm gonna drop 2 joints in one. I was just sitting back watching the news, and I seen they let go a brother from Baltimore named Anim Sahid. He did 23 years. And back in 1999, they charged him with killing his girlfriend and roommate or something of that nature. It's on the news. Check it out. What happened is the prosecution held back evidence that there was 2 other people of interest, and they used cell phone towers that was kind of faulty, that they couldn't really stand on. You know, nowadays they could ping your cell phone to wherever it's at or whatever to catch you. So, you know, the cell phones is being used for everything because they know we keep them with us, right? Well, this dude, he, you know, was found guilty at trial for killing his girlfriend. He was just exonerated. Of course, rest in peace to the young lady that he was accused of killing. The family, of course, want justice, but they should want justice for the person that did it instead of just settling for a conviction, because that's what the problem is. The problem is prosecutors be so overzealous that all they want is a conviction. They just want a body to put in prison. You know what I mean? So they could tell the public and the family that they caught them. So when they running for political office, they could say that they solved this murder. The same thing like what happened with my case. So that's why I tie all this in. In my case, my prosecutor, after convicting me, he used that on his resume to say he brought down the big drug lord from the East Coast, from New York up and down the Eastern Seaboard, Unique Make Audio, and his brother Peter Hall. You know what I mean? So he used that. He wound up getting a job overseas in Nicaragua. You know, this was, you know, where all that was going on with the Iran-Contras war with Rick Ross. I'm sure you know the good brother Rick Ross. You know what I mean? All this with the crack everywhere. Everybody was eating from it, so everybody was down with it. So let's get that straight. But, you know, they went at us because we was expendable, because they knew someone else would come out to take our place, as far as, you know, to sell drugs, to wind up locking up again and wind up building up their political resume, which is what happened. But Anim Sahid was just released this morning. So I'm going to put this video out today. And because this falls into place with the video that I dropped this morning, as far as how the indictment go and how they bring everybody together and get one person to tell on 10 person, and then those 10 people tell on 10 people, and now you got 100 people from locking up one man because he pled guilty, and he wind up, you know, bringing in other people, and whatever he don't know, he makes up. And that's the way it is. And they don't really care if he make it up. All they want is the conviction. So that's where we at. But they freed the good brother today. He was exonerated from everything. So, you know, that's what I wanted to speak on with that, so you understand how the prosecution works. That's why I say do not get involved in crime, because the deck is stacked against you. Back in the days, we call it railroading. They railroad you just to get that conviction. And that's what they do. You know what I mean? So now, yeah, you know what I mean? Because y'all don't like when I say it or like when I say it or whatever, but I got the shirts over there. Check below at my YouTube channel. You'll see, you know, the merchandise with the Nah Mean shirts. But anyway, so, you know, they held back. They knew it was 2 other people of interest, but being that he was the young lady that got murder's boyfriend, you know, of course, they made it like it was a crime of passion. It was easy to get that conviction just to close the case, to look like they were superheroes and they that good and they lock people up. So that's where we at. But then now the brother just came home after 23 years. They got 30 days to decide if they're going to try him again. You know what I mean? And within 30 days, they got to give him a new trial. But now, like I said, they use the cell phone records that, you know, they can't stand on everything with the cell phone record, because back then it wasn't as, you know, in tune or intact as it is now, where they could pinpoint it. So it's like the beginning stages of DNA, you know, but, you know, that's where it is. So the brother's free. But I also wanted to give y'all a bonus, you know what I mean? Because I kind of, you know, took off over the weekend, right before the weekend. So I want to give y'all the bonus. I'm going to tell you about a good brother that I met, you know what I mean? A good brother. And he was a white guy. You know what I mean? One of the best white guys I met when I went into prison. And I could honestly say that he was the best. You know what I mean? Because I can't think of any offhand right now that I ran across that was as good as him. But I met some good white guys too. Even, you know, Barry Mills to me was a good dude, because he, you know, let it be known, like I told y'all in the other video, He let it be known that he's not racist. He just believes in white pride, the same as we believe in black pride, Jamaican pride, African pride, Indian pride, pride. You know what I mean? So, just, proud of who he is. Let me take this out. So now that's where he at. So, brother Dickie Lynn, that's his name, Richard Dickie Lynn. I met him when I went to ADX back in 1996. I met Dickie Lynn. Really intelligent brother. He's from the Florida Keys, and he got locked up for smuggling kilos of cocaine from like Mexico up into the Panhandle. He brought it into Alabama and all of that, and he was ultimately brought down by Jeff Sessoms. Yes, I'm sure y'all know that name, Jeff Sessoms. Not saying anything bad about anybody, but I know you know these names. But these are or should I say, we are the people that they built their political resume on, so that when they ran for office, they showed what they did and, things of that nature. But Dickie Lynn was a good dude. I was with him in ADX. Me and him talked. I'm going to try and remember the story. I'm going to reach out to him so I can bring him on the show so that you can meet him, so you see what a real man looked like. You know what I mean? But I say man because when he got picked up, it was him and a bunch of co-defendants. He didn't tell on anyone. He went to trial. You know what I mean? He blew trial, and they sent him to like a FCI. From what I remember, Dickie's going to correct me if I'm wrong later. You know what I mean? I'm just going from off the stories. Dickie went to FCI. He working on the back dock over there by the food truck. So his appeal was in. While his appeal was in, he came up with a plan, allegedly, however you want to call it. He came up with a plan to escape. So he had, it was a truck that came in, and it had a hollowed out thing part in the bottom. They allegedly sent out a fake food invoice to bring food into the prison. And then the truck that he brought allegedly had a secret compartment under the bottom, where he got in the secret compartment. And he drove out. So when they put the little mirror under the truck, and they looked, they didn't see anything. So they let the truck out. Dickie Lynn got away while his appeal was pending. But this is why I'm doing this story, so you understand and see how serious this is. While his appeal was pending, he escaped. His co-defendants won the appeal for the same thing as Anim Saeed, for the prosecution holding back evidence that could have freed him, that could have impeached the witnesses to show that they was lying. But the prosecution only give you what they feel they need to give you, that they're going to use to convict you, and nothing that's going to help to what they call exonerate you. That means free you, right? So the prosecution held back all this evidence on him, and the case was a mess because it was a big case that he had, because he's from the Florida Keys, where back in the 70s, the Florida Keys, everybody in that area was using their boats to go out there and look for drugs that the drug laws threw overboard. I know you've seen those in the movies, the Cocaine Cowboy and all that, where they throw the drugs overboard. And the locals would listen to the scanners, even the mothers and the grandmothers. They all had scanners in their house, and they listened for when the Coast Guard was chasing people, drug lords up and down the thing. So then they'll jump out and get on their boats because they knew the area, and they'll look for barrels, of marijuana that was being thrown overboard as the Coast Guard was chasing them. But so now Dickie done went and turned it up, and he started flying planes, bringing drugs in from the Latin countries, over to Alabama. That's how Jeff Sessom got involved, even though Dickie is from Florida. Now, when he went to Alabama, that's where they was going. They had a lot of mishaps when they was going there. Like one of them, they was flying in one night and one morning, and all night it was too much fog. And they couldn't land the plane, so the plane crashed and the two pilots died. When the two pilots died, and they went there in the morning to go look at it after the fog cleared up, they found the dead bodies with the plane, and like 70 kilos of cocaine spattered on the airfield. So that was the largest, bust ever, even though no one got busted because the pilots died. But now they tracking the plane, who bought the plane, who didn't, who registered the plane, to try and find out, who was involved with it. And from them doing that, they wound up getting on the my man Dickie, and Dickie winds up getting locked up. So when he get locked up, he escaped from jail. When he escaped from jail, his appeal was pending. He won his appeal. You know what I mean? His co-defendants won his appeal, and instead of a new trial, they offered him like a 5-year time served. So they took the 5 years, they all went home, but Dickie was on the run for like 14 months. While he was on the run, his appeal was pending. When they caught him, his appeal was over. So when he came back into custody, listen how this plays out tricky. When he comes back into custody, Dickie tells him, well, I won my case. So he puts his paperwork in. So they're supposed to release him because they released his co-defendants. You know what I mean? For the, prosecution misconduct. The whole case was prosecution misconduct. So when he came in now, they told him, yeah, your co-defendants got released. Yeah, it was prosecution misconduct. Yeah, we screwed up all the way around the board, but we're not letting you go because once you ran off, we stopped your appeal where it was at. Because we wasn't going to spend the money to hear your case to free you while you was on the run from escaping. You know what I mean? So now Dickie winds up coming back in. His co-defendants, they all home. And Dickie comes back in the system. And for over 2 decades, he did 31 years. He just came home last June. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm going to contact Dickie, try and get him on here so he can tell the story himself, right? He came home last June. When he came home last June, you know what I mean? And there I go with the "nah, I mean" again. When he came home last June, it was after 2 decades of fighting. 2 decades of fighting because they wouldn't let him in to hear his appeal. The same appeal that his co-defendants, got rhythm on and got their case overturned. And if he wouldn't have escaped, he would have got his case overturned. But because he escaped, he wound up having to do 25 years more than his co-defendants because he escaped. Pay attention to what I just said. They said that Dickie escaped, and once he escaped, they stopped his appeal and they voided it where now he no longer has an appeal because he violated the judicial system by escaping, and they wasn't going to use judicial funds, meaning money, in order to pursue his case. Now, how crazy can you get than that? They tell him, yeah, the prosecution was wrong. Your co-defendants went home. You're supposed to be home, but you escaped. And while you was on the run, they heard your case. They didn't hear your case because you escaped. So we stopped it, you know what I mean? And scrapped it, you know what I mean? So now they home, but you have to stay here. So I was with Dickie in ADX, you understand? And just to show you how the federal system is small. Then after that, I wound up going to Allenwood. Then I went to Lung Park. Then I went to Coleman 1. Then I went to Lee County. Then I went up to Otisville. Then I went up to, we talking about decades, over a decade. Then I went up to Otisville. Then I went up to Raybrook. Then they sent me back out to Victorville, Atwater, California in 2007. I left Atwater in 2010. I left Atwater in 2010. That's my mom calling that. I left Atwater in 2010 and wound up in Coleman again. Now, when I get to Coleman in 2010, that's what I told you about when we was flying over. I saw the black, the Atlantic all black from the Hess oil spill back in 2009 or something like that. But this was June 2010. I get to Coleman, and when I get to Coleman, here's my good friend Dickie. So I said, damn, Dickie, you still ain't go home yet? He said, man, you need these people playing, man. They still won't hear my appeal. They said I voided all my appeal rights because I escaped. I said, but your co-defendants went home because of the prosecution misconduct. So they violated, your rights too from the same misconduct that the prosecutors did in your case that the co-defendants went home on. He said, yeah, I know, but they mad that I escaped. This is how vindictive the government can be. You know what I mean? They was mad that he escaped. So they stopped his appeal and told him, you don't have no more appeal. But if you can get in, you could go home. I don't know how he finally went home, if it was behind the Trump First Step Act that I came out on, or if they finally let him in. I doubt it if they let him in, because they don't play that. You escaped, you cost them money, you made them look bad, and he escaped from federal prison. Only a handful of people escaped from federal prison. You know what I mean? He was out there like 14 months. But I run into Dickie, and me and him used to go walk the track. We hang out, and he told me a bunch of stories about, him smuggling drugs and, a bunch of things that he was accused of. And I told him a bunch of stories about me smuggling drugs from New York up and down the East Coast. And, we just had a good time, but that's how we pass time, man. So, I say all that to say it's not worth it to get involved in crime. because they don't play fair. Like I said, they admitted that they violated his rights with prosecution misconduct, let his co-defendants go, but he was on the run, so he could not go to have an appeal so that he could get the same resources that his co-defendants had. Now I'm gonna show you a picture of Dickie. I'm sure you've seen it already because I'm gonna edit this and throw it up there. But that's what it is, man. So that's why I said don't get involved in crime. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? Did a video earlier today about how they bring the indictment and they lock multiple people up by just getting, one person to tell on 10, those 10 tell on 10 apiece, that's 100. Those 10 tell on 10 more apiece, you know what I mean? That's another 100. And I'm just keeping a low end and saying that they're only telling on 10, But this is not nice, man. So I'm telling y'all, don't do it. Don't get involved in it. You know what I mean? It ain't worth it. And if you want to know what happened during the crack era, on the East Coast of New York with me, pick up a Roaring Harlem at roaringharlem.com. I also have the audio book, a Roaring Harlem at roaringharlem.com. All right? That's www.roaringharlem.com to cop the book and the audio book. But it is what it is, man. And don't forget your shirts because, like I said, Dickie Lynn went all the way. You know what I mean? Good brother. He went all the way. When he got picked up, he exercised his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. So cop your shirt. You got the merchandise at the bottom of the YouTube channel. You have the right to remain silent. AK in the hood, you have the right to shut the F up. It's not promoting, don't snitching. Let's get that straight. It's just to remind our people, you know what I mean? If we decide to slip and go down the wrong path, you know what I mean? That you have the right to remain silent and let the lawyer speak for you, because that's the only voice you got in court. Anything you say to the administration in the back of the police car, in the police station, in the courthouse, without an attorney, they're going to use it against you. And even when you get an attorney, you can't get that statement thrown out, because that's the problem a lot of people make. They think they can talk to the police because they tell them, oh, well, tell me what happened. And I'm going to put a good word in for you. They can't put a good word in for you because your case ain't even been brought over to the prosecutor yet. Only the prosecutor could do that. And the only person you have to talk to the prosecutor is your attorney. So this is just giving you the rules of the game, being that y'all feel like you're strong enough to deal with the game. I'm telling you it's not worth it. I did 26 years in federal prison, and it's not worth it. At all, it's not worth it. I'm telling you like it is. Many nights I cried looking at pictures of my kids growing up. Many nights I cried looking at my kids growing up. And the video that I told, I think it was yesterday, with the brother from Baltimore. I didn't get a chance to put the picture up, but this is my man from Baltimore. You know what I mean? The one that I told you about, that was my celly when I heard the hairs in his pants, you know what I mean? Rubbing on his leg after being confined in a cell, for over 4 years. And all my senses heightened. You know what I mean? This is my brother. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got mad pictures of everybody, man. And, he goes to pictures of me and my granddaughter. This is how old my daughter was when I got locked up. This is how old my daughter was when I got locked up. And then now she comes see me with this young lady who is the same age as she was when I got locked up. But now my daughter is 30-something years old. So I miss all of that from this child, from this age. I miss all that to 30-something years old because I was in prison, because I decided to run the streets and think that I was slicker than a bag of fish grease. Hey, you know what I mean? So I'm telling you it's not worth it. If you don't want to listen to me, I don't know what to tell you. And like I said, I'm not promoting, under no circumstance I'm promoting, don't snitch or none of that. But I'm just telling you to exercise your Fifth Amendment right and know you have the right to remain silent. Cop your shirts, man. You know what I mean? But I've been on here long enough. I'm going to do a whole joint on Dickie where I'm going to take my time. If y'all want it, y'all put in the comments you want to know more about the Dickie Lynn case. But he's a good brother. And like I said, as you see, I don't talk bad about no races. You know what I mean? I get along with white guys, black guys. I even got some Chinese stories. Big shout out to the Green Dragons. You know what I mean? Chinese Brian, as we called them, and Chinese Tone. You know what I mean? Those are good brothers, man. I know people of all races. Juan Ramon Mata from Honduras. Mario Villabona, Colombian. You understand what I'm saying? So, I done been around the best of it, man. So, I got stories for days. So this is easy for me. But I'm just using these stories to try and deter the youth and the adults, the male, female, child, everyone, from going to prison, from going down that road thinking that you can beat the system. All the money I had, I paid $80,000 for my New York lawyer. I paid over $120,000 in appeals. You know what I mean? And still did 20-something years. So I'm telling you it ain't worth it. So I did all that hustling out there to give all my money back to them. And then whatever money I didn't spend on lawyers, they wound up seizing. Check my PSI. They done confiscated over 15 cars from me. Told you I had about 30 cars. They wound up getting 15 of them. You understand? I mean, look, I'm going to give you one. And big shout out to the federal marshal from New York that brought me in. You know what I mean? Miss Cologne. She's the one that brought down all of us, you know, drug dealers from New York back in those days. And like I said, I'm not mad at nothing. I'm not even mad at her. Miss Cologne was something else. Miss Cologne came to my trial. I have the chain that was worth about $40,000. You know what I mean? And a bracelet and a ring to match it. You know what I mean? Miss Cologne came into trial while she's testifying, talking about Mecca Audio and how I had the stash coming from the apartment upstairs down to the store, hidden behind the electrical sockets, and they kept running up in the store and couldn't catch nothing because I was using the socket to get the drugs out of there when the police came and all that. She had my jewelry on stand. Miss Cologne had my jewelry on stand. While she was on the stand, she had my jewelry on, testifying against me, getting me life, letting me know that she won. And she won that one. You know what I mean? But I won when I got released because I kept my mouth shut because I had the right to remain silent. And being that I didn't give them nothing, all I had to fight was all the crazy fabrications that everybody else put in there. So that's why I'm telling you, you know what I mean? It's not worth it. Don't get involved in it under no circumstances. Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say I didn't tell you. If you want to enjoy the crack era, if you want to enjoy the streets and selling drugs, go cop the book of Roy Harlem and read it in the privacy of your own home instead of running the streets trying to think that you could be unique. Because unique telling you it wasn't worth it. I can't tell you no more adamant than that. It wasn't worth it. And I want to give a big shout out to my man Homicide Lou, aka Lou Sims, aka the Lynch Mob. It's his birthday this week. You know what I mean? You know, last week. And, you know, I'm going to be posting some pictures of him and all that and videos. You know, he home, and I want to give a shout out, you know what I mean, to, you know, all my peoples, man. And definitely, you know, want to give a shout out to the whole federal system. Do the right thing. Work on getting out of prison. Come out here, join my movement so that we can prevent the youth from going to prison. All right. So on that note, I'm getting ready to tap out so I get this video up to you ASAP.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.